세종대왕님이 만드신 한글이 아프리카까지 퍼졌다는 소식부터 전해드리겠습니다. 놀라셨습니까? 이 아름다운 한글을 만들어주셔서 정말 감사합니다.
KBS World Radio recently held the 7th edition of its Korean language speech contest. And this year, some 300 people from around the world submitted videos talking about one of three themes: love, peace, and words you would say to King Sejong. 6 finalists were chosen, and I'm delighted to say that we have one of the finalists joining us via video now for this week's Touch Base in Seoul. We connect now with Faith Lwayo from South Africa, a medical student who also goes by her Korean name, Chomi. 안녕하세요. Welcome to the show.
안녕하세요. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you on the show today. And right off the bat, I have to say, your video submission was so great. It was really original, and your Korean was immaculate as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Okay, so tell us how you first encountered the Korean language. What inspired you to learn Korean?
I think it all started with Big Bang. So back in high school, I met 2 friends, one from Taiwan and one from the Philippines. And my Taiwanese friend Tasha was really into Big Bang. And so as we became friends, I naturally also ended up listening to a lot of Big Bang. And so I think that time I didn't know much about Korea or the Korean culture, but I really enjoyed the music. So the 3 of us would always like dance to the music, even if we didn't know really what it meant. And then I think from one point we kind of decided together to start learning like Hangul and trying to understand the songs. And so it kind of naturally developed from there.
Okay, so it was the K-pop group Big Bang that started off your interest in Korean culture and the Korean language. Then you ended up studying for 8 years. How did you approach your studies? How did you approach learning the language? You said you started initially just amongst your friends then.
Yes, so initially it was kind of just learning specifically with the songs and the words that came like from the songs.
Right.
But I think for me personally, all my friends kind of took a different approach later on. But I wanted to kind of find some structure in my learning like towards the beginning. And so I remember that December holiday, I was trying to find like free Korean lessons that would be able to take my Korean from where it was to maybe somewhere near intermediate. And then I ended up finding a website that was teaching Korean and had Korean lessons from level 1 to level 10. And each level had different lessons. And so I thought, hey, I might as well, do this up until the end. And I think that took my Korean from like beginner level to like early intermediate. And then I kind of focused more on like watching entertainment shows and my pronunciation thereafter.
What's incredible as well is that I understand you've never actually been to Korea. So that must have been difficult to learn Korean in South Africa without even having to come to Korea.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult because you don't get that immersion, especially 8 years ago, there wasn't a lot of people learning Korean or a lot of Koreans that I knew because I was from like a smaller town. And so a lot of my learning was from the internet, and a lot of what I knew about Korea was from the dramas at first that I was watching, and then entertainment shows, and then I went to documentaries to try and kind of get a feel for like what Korea was like.
Right, so it sounds like you were really thorough, and that must have been hard as well because, as we said, you're a medical student as well. To try and be a medical student and learn Korean can't be easy.
Yes, it was definitely difficult, but I think because I really enjoyed learning Korean, it was kind of like a hobby for me and like a way for me to get away from the medical scene and kind of pursue something that was completely different. And so I think I mostly just enjoyed, even if it was like 5 or 10 minutes of learning Korean or kind of practicing pronunciation. Yeah, it was just making like a few minutes a day, finding a few minutes a day to learn Korean. I think that's how I managed.
What do you find most difficult about learning Korean?
I think it's definitely the lack of exposure,
Right.
especially to people who I could speak to face, because, I mean, there's only so much you can do when you're speaking by yourself or kind of learning online. And so the most difficult part was not really having someone to speak to face, as well as not understanding the culture, not being able to understand the culture completely, because again, there's only so much you can learn from online, and so you'd actually need to go to Korea to learn the cultural nuances and the meanings in a lot of the actions, like the cultural customs as well.
So then how did you overcome that? How did you end up learning more of the conversational? Did you perhaps meet anyone in South Africa, any Koreans in South Africa?
I did meet a few Koreans in South Africa, but a lot of the Koreans that I met were here for a short time and then they left. So I didn't have like a prolonged exposure with them. And so I think kind of making friends online also helped. I was able to meet a friend that I'm now close with. And I think that friend actually helped me understand a lot about the Korean culture, because throughout the time, like, we were talking in Korean and he would tell me a lot about the Korean culture and history. So I think that helped a lot.
Sure. Other than that, what else do you think helped you along that way? What tips would you give for anyone who's looking to try and learn Korean now?
The tips that I would give, I think the first one is, or that helped a lot, was to watch a lot of like entertainment shows, because I know a lot of people are interested in dramas, and dramas are great, but I think with entertainment shows you're able to get so much more of the more realistic style of speaking, and kind of get a more natural way of more natural phrases that you can use, which I think really helped kind of take my Korean from like an intermediate level to a little bit of like a higher intermediate level. So I think that would be my biggest tip.
We all want to speak like we're in Korean dramas, but life never works out quite that way, of course. Before we move on, what does also, where did your name, Korean name, Chomi, come from?
So my middle name is Nichome, so shortened as Chomi.
Right.
And so when I was speaking with my friend, we were kind of wanting to make that my Korean name. And so he was looking up the Hanja meaning for Chomi, and so he ended up having it as 원초적인 초, 아름다움이, which is like original beauty, which I kind of quite liked. So that's how I ended up with the Korean name Chomi.
Sure, I think it's a beautiful name and very fitting. Let's briefly talk about your video application for our 7th Korean language speech contest. You chose the Hello King Sejong theme, words you would like to say to King Sejong, and in the video you spoke as if you were directly talking to him as a time-traveling Korean student 579 years from the king's future. You also asked him about what morals and values he wanted to uphold when he was 25. Why did you choose this theme, and what inspired you to ask him that question as well?
I think I chose that theme because it was a topic that I felt I could approach sincerely, because even the content of the speech was something that I genuinely wanted to ask King Sejong, because he had the qualities that I would like to kind of grow within myself. And so when approaching the topic, I kind of tried to ask the question in a way that I could get answers that would also, be able to help me kind of be a better person, as well as learn a few things from him. So I think I really enjoyed preparing that topic, and yeah, it was great.
What do you think he might have said? What do you hope he might have said?
I think I would have just wanted just a sincere answer in terms of like the way that he was thinking at that time and his thinking processes, because I was asking like how he would approach like his morals and values when he was 25, and so I would hope maybe he'd take me into like a little bit of how his mind was working and his mindset, and his perspective on the world at that time.
Well, it was certainly an eye-catching submission, and one that took you to the final round as well, an online quiz show where you were competing with the other 5 finalists. How did you find that?
Yes. I think I went through so many emotions during that time because it was really exciting, and it was such a pleasure meeting all the other contestants and the PD names and all the KBS quiz show staff. So I was really excited because the other contestants could also speak Korean so well, and it's been so exciting just meeting people who can speak, Korean. I can speak Korean too, and become friends with. So that was really a lot of fun, and I think the PD names and all the staff were really kind and very patient with us. So all in all, it was a pleasurable experience.
Well, once again, well done. For our listeners who want to check out Miss Lwayo's video, you can visit our website, world.kbs.co.kr, and there'll be a link on the front page of our site. You'll be able to see Miss Lwayo's video, as well as videos of all the other participants who took part. Sincere thanks goes out to all of them. Finally, where do you hope your Korean skills take you in the future? I understand that you will finally be visiting Korea soon, later this year. You must be really excited.
Yes, I'm so excited. I think I've been waiting for this moment for so many years now, and finally, now I'm graduating and I can finally go and experience all the things that I've been so curious about. So I think once I go, I'll be meeting a lot of friends there, and also I'm trying out the foods that I haven't had a chance to try out in South Africa. The Korean food I haven't had a chance to try out here, as well as go to places like the Chinchilbang and Norebang, because we don't really have that in South Africa. So I'm excited for that visit. Yes, and in terms of what I want to do with my Korean in the future, I think it's something that I've thought about for a very long time, because my major, medicine, really doesn't have anything specifically to do with Korea or Korean, and so I was wondering how I could be I could kind of join the two, like Korean and medicine. And so a few years ago, luckily, I met a Korean couple who came to South Africa, and they introduced me to Korean traditional medicine, and I thought it was really fascinating, and I thought it would be great if I could go to Korea and stay there for a few years and learn that and be able to incorporate that later in practice. So I think that is what I'd like to do with my Korean skills in the future.
That sounds like a fascinating plan. We hope you have a wonderful time in Korea in the meantime. Feel free to stop by KBS as well, of course. And it was wonderful to have you on the show today. We've been speaking to Faith Lwayo, finalist for KBS World Radio's 7th Korean language speech contest. Thank you once again for your time today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.